Rugae are temporary muscular folds present in the wall of. The question is very direct. Only one thing we should know, that is rugae. So, what are rugae? Please remember, rugae are irregular macroscopic folds present in the stomach. Rugae are macroscopic muscular folds that project into the lumen of the stomach. You will be very surprised to know, when we look into the empty stomach, it is very small. As the food is going to be accommodated, we know the stomach is J-shaped structure located on the left side of the upper abdomen, left side to the liver, and it appears very small because of the rugae. And as the food is accommodated, the rugae disappear gradually due to distension of the wall of the stomach. Stomach is a temporary primary food storing organ. It stores the food for 4 to 5 hours. And here the rugae is playing a very important role. So they disappear. Whenever we talk about stomach, we have to know about the rugae. Please remember rugae as macroscopic irregular folds of the mucosa projecting into the lumen. So here when you look into it, buccal cavity option 1, that is not our answer. Pharynx, no. Esophagus, no. Stomach, yes. So rugae are temporary muscular folds present in the wall of stomach. Remember, once the food is taken inside, when the stomach is full, the rugae are not going to be present because of the distension of the wall of the stomach. Now we move on to the next question. The question is, chylomicrons are option 1, droplets of fatty acid and glycerol that moves into the intestinal mucosa cells. Option 2, non-digestive enzyme secreted by intestinal mucosa. Option 3, hormones that inhibit the release of gastric juice. Option 4, small protein coated fat globules which are transported into lacteals in the villi. Very interesting options are there. Let me look into the first option. Droplets of fatty acid and glycerol that move into the intestinal mucosa cells. We call this as micelles. So it is in this form the digested fat is taken into the mucosa cells assisted by bile salts. I hope all of you know, when I talk about bile salts help in serving two functions. One, emulsification of fat. Second, absorption of this digested fat into the mucosa cells. Now we come to the next option. Non-digestive enzyme secreted by intestinal mucosa. Very important from examination point. The non-digestive enzyme secreted by intestinal mucosa is called as enterokinase. It is also called as enteropeptidase. I hope all of you know enterokinase is going to help in activation of trypsinogen into trypsin. I hope all of you know trypsinogen is an inactive protein digesting enzyme present in pancreatic juice, and this is activated in the duodenum or small intestine. So it is activated into trypsin, a strong protein digesting Now we come to the option 3, hormone that inhibit the release of gastric juice. Remember, the hormone that is going to promote the release of gastric juice is called gastrin. Gastrin inhibiting hormones are there and it is called enterogastrin. So, option 3 is also not an answer. Now we come to the last option. Small protein coated fat globules which are transported into lacteals in the villi. Now we should know what do we mean by lacteal here. I hope all of you know the small intestine has microscopic projections called villi. Singular is villus. And remember, lamina propria, the connective tissue, also enters into this villi. And into this, the lymphatic vessel with a blind end is going to be entering. The lymphatic vessel in the villus of small intestine with the blind end is called lacteal. It carries lymph. The digested fat is taken from the mucosa cell with a protein coat into the lacteal and we call this as chylomicron and thereby option 4 is the answer. Now we can come to the next question. This is a statement based question. There are two statements. Let us read the statements and then discuss and arrive at the answer. Statement A says the mucosa cells of intestinal villi are brush border cells. Statement B says secretion of brush border cells and goblet cell is succus entericus. Whether we have to find out whether statements are correct or wrong. Which is correct, which is wrong. Let me come to statement A. The mucosa cells of intestinal villi are brush border cells. What do we mean by brush border cells? Remember, if you take a mucosa cell, it is tall, pillar-like or column-like. The free surface of the mucosa cell has infoldings that increases the surface area and we call this infolding as microvilli. The cells with microvilli are called brush border cells. Dear friends, the moment we talk about brush border cells, two regions we have to remember. One in the villi of small intestine, second in proximal convoluted tubule of nephron. So, the statement 1, the mucosa cells of intestinal villi or brush border cell is correct. Now we look into the statement B. Secretion of brush border cells and goblet cells is succus entericus. Very, very important statement. Remember, the moment we talk about brush border cell, means it has microvilli. Presence of microvilli means it increases the surface area. Increase in surface area clearly indicates that the cells are specialized for absorption of digested food. But here we have a word secretion of brush border cells. Now I want you to tell you, remember, brush border cells not only help in absorption of digested food, it also secretory. Remember, the intestinal juice, what is called succus entericus, carries digestive enzymes. For example, it carries maltase, sucrase, lactase, dipeptidase, tripeptidase, nucleosidases, nucleotidases. And these are the cells which are going to secrete. So this part is correct. Goblet cells, I hope all of you know, goblet cells are unicellular mucus secreting cells. They secrete mucin that dissolves in water to form mucus. And the secretion of brushwater cells and goblet cell is succus centricus. This statement is also correct. So both statement A and B are correct. Answer option 1 is the correct answer. Now we move on to the next question.
ಡಿಯರ್ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್, ನೀವು ದಿವಿಗೆ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಚಾನಲ್ಗೆ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್ಗೂ ಹೇಳಿ, ಇದೇ ಥರ ನೂರಾರು ವೀಡಿಯೋಸನ್ನು ಫ್ರೀಯಾಗಿ ನೋಡಿ.